Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Sports Talk with JWock. I am your host, JWock, and I believe this is podcast number 31. I've honestly lost count. We've been kind of going strong, but today we're going to be talking about, are you a contender or a pretender? We are going to be talking about which team that is leading their division after week 8 in their designated division for the NFL, which team looks like a contender and which team might be a pretender, so make sure to stay tuned. Once again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Sports Talk with JWock, and I just want to get your guys' opinion real quick because I am trying to now start doing alternate episodes. So basically, one week it's going to be NFL, and then the next week it's going to be NBA, and we'll just switch back and forth. Once we get college basketball, we'll have to mix that into it as well. But yeah, let me know, do you think I should keep going with the intermixed where I switch them off every single week, or should I do, multiple episodes of one league and then multiple episodes of another league? Like, let me know what you guys think. Just give me some recommendations and some suggestions. But today's going to be a bit of a shorter episode, but not too much shorter. We're going to be talking about, is the division leader in their designated division a contender or pretender? So obviously there's only 8 divisions, so there's 8 leaders. So let's get started. Let's talk about the AFC, which I believe is the stronger conference right now. But let's go into the AFC East, and the team that is leading the AFC East right now is the Buffalo Bills at 6-2. Clearly, I think they have this division locked up as the number 1 team, and I do believe they are contenders. I believe making the move for Amari Cooper has been great. This team was already good without Amari Cooper, and now adding him is just going to add so much more firepower on the offensive end. In my opinion, it's, can the defense hold on? And I think they will be able to. I think the defense has been solid, and I think this Bills team is going to be a contender come playoff time. Next up, we have the AFC West, which is clearly run by the Chiefs. They're obviously going to win this division. They are sitting at 7-0. Yes, they are contenders. It pains me to say that, but yes, they are contenders. This is a really good team, and overall, they've won back-to-back Super Bowls. Clearly, they're going to be contenders. They have a very similar team, and they just added DeAndre Hopkins not too long ago. So yes, they are contenders. Then we've got the AFC North, the Pittsburgh Steelers. While yes, their record is 6-2, I believe that this is the first team that I could say is a pretender. I don't think they're going to be competing for the championship. Yes, their defense is top-notch. They have a great defense. It's their offense that's honestly going to kill them, in my opinion. You have Russell Wilson, who has been added to the lineup instead of Justin Fields lately. It's been working. He's 2-0 now. But in my opinion, I don't think Russell Wilson's going to be able to get it done against teams like the Bills and the Chiefs, like I said earlier. So, in my opinion, I think the Steelers are contenders, but they are very close. They're on the fence of contending and being a pretender. And then finally, to wrap up the AFC, we have the Houston Texans sitting at a record of 6-2. I think this is another contending team. I think CJ Stroud, actually, I don't know if I could. I'm going to say they might be pretenders now. And it's not because of their roster, not because they're a bad team. But I think their injuries have already kind of killed them and shot them in the foot. I mean, we just saw a couple days ago that Stephon Diggs is now ruled out for the rest of the season, which is a huge loss for the Houston Texans. They still have great wide receivers, but if you want to compare them to teams like the Bills and the Chiefs, I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with them because now they don't have those receivers to be able to help CJ Stroud offensively. Their defense is good, but the offense is going to have some question marks now, especially with that wide receiver, especially without their wide receiver 1. And but we could be seeing some changes due to the trade deadline coming up here soon, which we will talk about in another episode. But the Texans might have to go out and make a move for a wide receiver if they want to keep competing. But yeah, that's the AFC. Let me know what you guys think. I think the two contenders in the AFC are Bills and Chiefs, and then the two pretenders are the Steelers and Texans. But let's get on to the NFC right after this. Okay, so we just talked about the AFC and how I think there are two teams being contenders and two teams being pretenders. But now let's go to the NFC, where let's talk about four more teams. So we have the NFC East leader, which is the Washington Commanders, which, by the way, I am shocked by this. I would have not guessed this at the beginning of the year, but shout out to the Commanders for playing so well, and especially Jaden Daniels. Their record right now is 6-2. As much as I would love to say they're contenders, I'm going to say they're pretenders. I don't think they're good enough yet to be a contender. Give them 1 to 2 more years after this. Keep building that core, and they're going to be a solid team. I mean, this is going to be a good team in the future, but I just don't know if they can do it now, which I hope is understandable. Next up, we have the NFC West, which is led surprisingly based off of what Google said. Obviously, I'm not going to hold anything accountable, but the Arizona Cardinals are the number one team. I think the 49ers share the same record as the Cardinals. Let me just make 100% on that, because I don't want to give you guys false information. Yes, the Cardinals are at 4-4, the Seahawks are at 4-4, and the Rams are at 3-4. So honestly, that division's going to be kind of all over the place the rest of this season, especially how tight that race is right now. But if it were the Cardinals at the end of the season, I don't think they're contenders. I do kind of think they're similar to the Commanders, but like maybe a step or two lower than them. I think they've got a couple more pieces that they need to add on, whether that's maybe another wide receiver, just some more weapons. But I think the Cardinals are on the right path, but they're just not at the contending stage yet. Next up, we have the NFC North. That is led by the Detroit Lions, who are sitting at 6-1. This is by far, in my opinion, the best team in the NFC. So yes, they are definitely contenders. They look good out there. I mean, the Lions just look like they've picked up where they left off last year. And it's just been very impressive, and it's just good to see the Lions winning. I mean, they've had so many seasons of losing. It's finally good to see them win and just look good out there and be kind of one of the more dominant teams in the NFL. So they are definitely contenders. And then finally, we have the NFC South, which is led by the Atlanta Falcons, and shortly below them is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But right now it's the Falcons. They're sitting at a record of 5-3. I don't think this is a contending team. They look good. I mean, they have a good defense. Their offense is starting to click better and stuff. They're looking solid, but I don't think they're a contender. I think they still have some work to do. Personally, I think Kirk Cousins is good, but I also think they have to really consider putting in Michael Penix in maybe next season, just because, honestly, Michael Penix is their future at quarterback right now, not Kirk Cousins, even though you paid him a ton of money, which, yes, might be a risk, but I do think you have to focus on development if you're the Falcons, because I think Penix could get you there if we kind of saw how he played with Washington last season. But I don't think they're contenders. I think they're pretenders. So that would make the NFC only having one contender. I think there are some other contenders. I just don't think they're leading the division right now in the NFC, but the Lions look good. What can I say? The Lions look good. So that's going to be it for the contenders and pretenders for both the AFC and the NFC. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys disagree with me? Do you guys agree with me? Just drop it down below in the comments. Let me know. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. It's always one of my favorite things. But yeah, that is going to be the end of this episode 31. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it is 31. So, anyways, I just wanted to give you a quick update as well. I'm going to put on the screen again, like last week, where I put my picks from last week of week 8. My record, I went 11-5 on for last week for picks, and now my final record, or my record right now as it stands, is 57-34. So we're doing a lot better than we were a couple weeks ago. So that's always a good sign to see. And if you guys want to, check me out on Instagram. It's sportstalkwith_JWock3. And then you could see my week 9 picks. I will be putting them out on every Thursday. I don't know. There's not really a designated time. I just kind of put it out every Thursday. So stay tuned for that, and check me out on Instagram. Hit the follow button. Check me out on TikTok at Sports Talk with JWock. You can always check me out on there. I've been kind of slower on posting TikToks lately, but I'm going to try to pick that up again. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Sports Talk with JWock. Once again, I'm your host, Jonah Walkenfuss. It's been real. Have a great week. God bless.